This is a Whittle Shortline Railroad wooden CSX model. CSX Transportation, reporting mark CSXT, known colloquially as simply CSX, is a Class I freight railroad operating in the eastern United States and the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Quebec. The railroad operates approximately 21,000 route miles, 34,000 kilometers, of track. The company operates as a subsidiary of CSX Corporation, a Fortune 500 company headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida. CSX Corporation was formed on November 1, 1980, by combining the railroads of the former Chessie system with Seaboard Coastline Industries. The name came about during merger talks between Chessie System and SCL, commonly called Chessie and Seaboard. The company chairman said it was important for the new name to include neither of those names because it was a partnership. Employees were asked for suggestions, most of which consisted of combinations of the initials. At the same time, a temporary shorthand name was needed for discussions with the Interstate Commerce Commission. CSC was chosen, but belonged to a trucking company in Virginia. CSM, for Chessie Seaboard merger, was also taken. The lawyers decided to use CSX, and the name stuck. In the public announcement, it was said that CSX is singularly appropriate. C can stand for Chessie, S for Seaboard, and X, which actually has no meaning. However, an August 9, 2016, article on the Railway Age website stated that the X was for consolidated. A fourth letter had to be added to CSX when used as a reporting mark, because reporting marks that end in X means that the car is owned by a leasing company or private car owner. The company introduced its current slogan, "How Tomorrow Moves," in 2008. The originator of SCL was the former Seaboard Airline Railroad, which previously merged with the Atlantic Coast Line Railroad in 1967 to form the Seaboard Coast Line. In later years, it merged with the Louisville and Nashville Railroad, as well as several smaller subsidiaries such as the Clinchfield Railroad, Atlanta and West Point Railroad, Monon Railroad, and the Georgia Railroad. From the late 1970s onward, these railroads were known collectively as the family lines. In 1982, they were merged into a single railroad, the Seaboard System Railroad. The origin of the Chessie system was the former Chesapeake and Ohio Railway, which had merged with the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad and the Western Maryland Railway. Despite the merger in 1980, CSX Transportation was a paper railroad, meaning no CSX painted locomotives or rolling stock, until 1986. In that year, Seaboard System changed its name to CSX Transportation. On April 30, 1987, the Bando merged into the Condu. With the Western Maryland having already merged into the Condu, this left the Condu as the sole operating railroad under the Chessie System banner. Finally, on August 31, 1987, Condu/Chessie System merged into CSX Transportation, bringing all of the major CSX railroads under one banner. Conrail acquisition. On June 23, 1997, CSX and Norfolk Southern Railway, NS, filed a joint application with the Surface Transportation Board for authority to purchase, divide, and operate the assets of the 11,000-mile, 18,000 kilometers, Conrail, which had been created in 1976 by bringing together several ailing northeastern railway systems into a government-owned corporation. On June 6, 1998, the STB approved the CSX, NS application, and set August 22, 1998, as the effective date of its decision. CSX acquired 42% of Conrail's assets, and NS received the remaining 58%. As a result of the transaction, CSX's rail operations grew to include some 3,800 miles, 6,100 kilometers, of the Conrail system, predominantly lines that had belonged to the former New York Central Railroad. CSX began operating its trains on its portion of the Conrail network on June 1, 1999. CSX now serves much of the eastern United States, with a few routes into nearby Canadian cities. In actuality, not all of Conrail was eliminated. There were a few parts of Conrail that both CSX and NS wanted, and neither wanted to allow the other to have total control over. Those small pieces remained owned by the renamed Conrail Shared Assets. Later Conrail Shared Assets operations, so that the pieces were effectively owned and operated by a separate railroad owned by both railroads, thus neither railroad would control those pieces. Pan Am Railways acquisition. On November 30, 2020, CSX Transportation announced on social media that they had come to an agreement with Pan Am Systems to purchase New England-based Class II Pan Am Railways, pending regulatory approval from the Surface Transportation Board. As of February 4, 2021, no application has been filed with the STB. Into the 21st century. In 2014, Canadian Pacific Railway approached CSX with an offer to merge the two companies, but CSX declined. And in 2015, Canadian Pacific made an attempt to purchase and merge with Norfolk Southern, but NS declined to do so as well. In 2017, CSX announced Hunter Harrison would become its new chief executive officer, a settlement with activist investor Paul Hillel and Mantle Ridge. CSX added 5 new directors to their board, including Harrison and Mantle Ridge founder Paul Hillel. Mantle Ridge owns 4.9% of CSX. Harrison quickly moved to convert CSX rail operations to precision railroading. On December 14, 2017, CSX announced that Hunter Harrison was on medical leave. 2 days after the announcement, Harrison died, 1 day after being hospitalized for complications of an ongoing illness. CSX initially saw a 10% drop in its stock price, but turned around to hit a new 52-week high less than a month later, January 2018. Harrison's successors have continued the shift to precision railroading, with most hump yards converted to flat yards, low-volume shipping lanes eliminated and reductions in rolling stock and workforce. CSX also operates numerous trains to and from Oak Island Yard in Newark, New Jersey, which is operated by Conrail Shared Assets Operations, CRCX, on its and Norfolk Southern's behalf. CSX operates 2 pairs of daily trains to from Oak Island, Q433 and Q434 coming from and going to Selkirk, along with Q300 and Q3012 to and from South Philadelphia. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our Facebook pages.